What's going on, team? Proof here, and coming at you with a very special Proof Positive podcast, featuring a couple of guys from my Discord who topped at BCS London, if I remember correctly. They'll correct me if I'm wrong in a little bit. I'm joined by Andrew Hesford and Cyrille Bonneau, and hopefully I didn't butcher you guys' names at all, but say hello to the people.
Hi, how you doing?
Hello.
And for those that aren't familiar, actually, I think this is my first time talking to Andrew, but my second time talking to Cyrille about his Bushiroad tournament experience. But for those that are new or may not be familiar with you, introduce yourselves and tell a little bit about yourselves.
Well, I'm Andrew from the United Kingdom, Manchester. I'm pretty shy, sorry.
You're good.
It's nice. I play Vanguard, obviously. Favorite clan's Dark Irregulars, which I played at the BCS London.
And Cyrille?
Well, I'm fine, thanks. And actually, it's the second time total that we speak directly to each other, not just the second interview. I'm from France. I've been playing Vanguard for a long time, but seriously in tournaments for 3 years. And my favorite clan is Pike Brothers, but lately I've been trying other clans just to be sure I wouldn't get a burnout.
Yeah, but don't get bored of playing just Spikes.
Well, before Premium Worlds last year, I played way too much Spikes, so I felt a need to play pretty much anything else.
I get you.
It worked out since in teams with my team we won Cardiff, and I came fourth in Premium in London, and one Standard Cologne. So.
And before we get into your respective runs, I kind of wanted to just ask you guys a couple other questions, like how did you start Vanguard? Like what led you to the game?
I was originally playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I think a lot of Vanguard players play the same backstory. It was when XYZs first came out. The game was kind of dying down at my locals at the time, and my friend he'd bought 2 tracks of this weird game called Vanguard, and ended up being rather fun. We ended up buying boxes from Singapore at the time. I don't think the game was actually released.
Oh wow!
Is it?
Well, for me, I also started card games with Yu-Gi-Oh! And especially the video games, since I was on a forum and with some friends we were playing quite regularly. But when at that time I was getting bored of Yu-Gi-Oh! And they had stopped producing the games, and I discovered the Vanguard anime about around episode 11 of the original series. But at that time I was just beginning my studies, so I couldn't give it any time. So I just kept watching the anime and bought a few cards here and there. And then when in the next years I started playing a bit more in events that were in locals. And when I ended my studies, I wanted to try it out competitively.
Okay.
And that's what.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I know, Andrew, you said your preferred clan is Dark Irregulars. How did you come to that? Was it where you started, or did you kind of just come into it after trying some things out?
Well, I play quite a lot. I play Warhammer, and I'm really into demons. But hilariously, it was more that it was like 6 of us, and when we were choosing clans, I was the guy who kind of came in last, coming into Vanguard, and the only clan that no one actually wanted to play was Dark Irregulars. Because at the time when we were importing from Singapore, it was quite hard. Like, you didn't really want to step on the toes of the people because there was going to be limited card supply. So we kind of all agreed to just stick with like one clan each.
Okay, that's fair.
So that kind of dropped. I ended up enjoying the clan.
So we're just working out for the best.
I did.
And Cyrille, how did you end up coming to Spikes?
Well, like most people, I started with Kagero, and I was a big fan of the early Waterfall, Steel Dragons, that kind of thing. But for money reasons, I started joining K-Splits with way cheaper clans, and I actually bought the spikes during the Break Ride area. But I didn't start really playing it until the Legion. So my first real spike deck was Break Ride Legion.
Oh, that's a good one to come into.
And then I liked it so much. So when Legion made me stick to the clan, and then the G units and Rising Nova I forgot about most of the clans after that.
That's fair. So, thank you guys for taking time out to sit with me and chat. And I'm sure I'll ask you guys to give me the deck pictures in a little bit, or so I can put in the background so that way the people can see it. But how did you come up with your decks for BCS London?
Well, I've been playing this. I don't really get a lot of time to play premium at locals. It's very in the UK, it's quite unpopular in the north where I'm from. So generally, I've been playing a standard deck for a while with 12 grade 3s, which I came 5th at Portugal with. So I was basically working on that with my friend Hid. Shout out to him, he's also on the Discord. And I had the idea of basically adapting my standard deck for premium. So I effectively changed out some of the cards I felt were not really viable in the premium format for some of the premium, like the All-Star Dark Regular premium cards like Dimension Creeper, Enigmatic Assassin.
So you kind of came up with your own standard plus version, as we like to call it, of your DI deck.
Yeah, so I tested it a bit on with Franz. He's a great guy. And it ended up being it was it's an idea I've had for a long time. So originally we had Demon Eater, but the problem with the deck was that the Counterblast was really intensive. Mm-hmm. And the gods basically blessed me with a number of Terror in the last DI support, where it's just better Demon Eater with no Counterblast cost.
Nice.
Which kind of opened up the full combo potential of the deck. So basically the idea of the deck, the way I was envisioning the deck was I wanted it to be kind of like how old Spark Brothers would be. Like, you want to just try and annihilate someone in one turn because the format's so fast. My idea was, how I envisioned it was you would reuse the assassin with the number of Terror plus No Life King to just overwhelm people in one turn and just push out so much damage that you can annihilate them before they can actually come back. Because the fort's so aggressive, people generally don't damage deny you at the moment. And just in case I come against such play, I was playing a few Bobo just to guarantee the actually getting off, comboing off.
Okay.
So I'm prattling on a
bit. No, you're fine. I like the. So we'll talk about more in a little bit later, but the play styles and the tactics of premium has changed over time. It sounds like, from hardcore damage deny to kind of, depending on who your opponent is, you kind of have to tailor what you're going to do a little bit differently. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's when you're building Dark Irregulars, it's very the two big challenges, and there's three. Like, I would imagine there's three big meta decks at the moment, which are Ezel, cursed its name, Neonectar, and Dark Irregulars. And the problem is you have to if you build to defeat Ezel, you kind of weaken your matchup against Neonectar. And if you build to beat Neonectar, you kind of weaken your matchup against Ezel. And then you also have to account for the Dark Irregular mirror matches. Mm-hmm. So I kind of took the risk, and I know the UK, Gold Paladins is from the old Duke days, it's kind of stuck. Gold Paladins is just really popular in the United Kingdom. So I figured there'd be a lot of Ezel, especially with it being the considered best deck. So I went for an anti-Ezel build. And I also teched in a few Bobo to deal with my mirror matches. Because generally you want to try and damage deny in the DI mirror so that you don't just get annihilated by their own combo.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Disgusting.
It also happens to the Bobos also have unforeseen counters to other decks, which we'll probably come across later.
I fed that.
And Cyrille, how'd you come up with your version of spikes you used for the tournament?
Well, I first thought about it for the premium in France, and at first it was just I was really scared of Hazel, and I didn't think I could do much with bad end. Even though during my tests I realized that it was I realized that a bad end deck can pretty much win 70-80% of the times against Hazel, because the pressure is so big that as long as you survive the early game, you just win on first ride.
Mm-hmm.
And you even get to pressure them a bit. So despite them getting counterblast, they won't be able to use it too much unless they're really high roll into their Wonder result. But because of that, I went instead for the GB8 build with the idea I would damage deny them. So just a straight up damage deny, because I knew there was that grade 1 Hazel that could just be a damage pulsar, then they could countercharge and do quite a few plays with Platina, Spirex, Ultima maybe. So I just wanted to get them from 0 to 6, and with the help of Onoli, I could survive for quite long actually. As long as you get to stride, you stabilize quite well. And aside from that, it's a rather classic GB8 build. There's one Monty because I want to be sure I get to ride my grade 2.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I play 11, it's better to ride it than Devil Dump, for example.
No doubt, no doubt. You don't want to be
there's,
stuck on the 6K.
Well, I did ride it once on purpose because who was it? I think it was the Hazel or New Nectar. I don't remember well. He tried to damage deny me, so I just rode my 6K grade 2, and then he was stuck.
So you had to choose between not attacking or giving you damage.
Yeah, and since I was on 6K, I could attack him and get my cards. So it was perfect.
That's some of the...
And yeah.
I was saying, that's some of the low-key tactics that nobody thinks about for premium. Like swinging under your opponent's Vanguard and keeping something in the back row to pass triggers to and stuff like that.
Yeah. And see, since I play Mecha Trainer in this, you always have something in the back. And finally, the two techs is one Bull Spike, because sometimes you want to go for the actual bad and good end combo. For example, in round 1, I was against Tsukuyomi, so Oracle Think Tank, and good end is just not an option against them. So I went for good end and just killed them on first ride. And the second one is Hivemaker, because I have no idea how people manage a GBA turn without calling things from hand, but I always draw all my pieces, and I just want a way to get them out on the field.
Mm-hmm. And for people that don't know you like I know you, you just can't let Hivemaker go.
Wrong. I could technically let it go for a bad end build, but it's true. I like to play one because you get more combos open.
Let me rephrase. When it comes to Hellheart 8 combo decks, you love your one of Hivemaker, or more than that if space allows.
In an aggro deck, I can play Skydiver instead.
You I know you've been filling with that every now and again. I can't knock it because I do love Skydiver myself.
To be fair, the moment Hazel gets banned or something, I take that deck and it's going to rock.
I dig it. So, excuse me. Let's head into your matchups. Let's see, what would be the best way? We can do round by round, and then each of you give your perspective of, if you remember, some of the details of what happened and what you face off against.
Do you want to start, Cyrille?
Sure. Well, like I said, for round 1, it was Tsukuyomi, and he didn't know spikes that well, so he took 3 damages in early, I think, even though I wasn't pushing that much. I think I got a crit on grade 2, so it helped, of course. And then during the GB8 turn, I just pushed through with huge bad end columns, and he could guard one, but not the last one, since he was already on 4. So,
I see.
yeah, because also since he didn't know the matchup that well, he gave me a lot of counterblasts, so I just went full face.
That's a big thing. Like, knowing your matchups is a huge thing in any card games, but a lot of people don't know spikes, so they end up kind of just give you what you want without realizing the trouble that's on the back end of it.
It's probably one of the most underrated decks in Premium. It's very scary when if you don't understand what you're doing against it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's why we mostly train, I think, for Azul, Dark Irregulars, and Neo Nectar, because it's the 3 clans you'll see almost every time, so you have to know how to play against them.
Yeah, and that's when the little rogue deck kind of sneaks under and claims one.
So my first round, I was against Brave, good old G deck. I actually don't think he was playing any new cards. He was actually playing the old move to soul, get 5k, draw 1 crit trigger.
Oh, the old alt trigger?
Poor guy. Yeah, you know the really old ones? They kind of made the new versions in the Premium Collection, like the OG versions of them. Like I think it's called Lylip, the Spike one. Like he was playing that still for Altamile. I felt pretty bad for him. He rushed me to 4 damage, and I rode NLK. I couldn't stride, but good old No Life King annihilated him anyway.
Your deck doesn't need to stride all the time.
Yeah, he's a bit of a beast, the No Life King.
Yeah.
I got most of my combo off. I had the Number of Terror, the Assassin already because I start on it, but I just didn't stride. He was not expecting just to be like blown out in 1 turn. I don't think. I feel sorry for him.
Especially Brave, because their hand was going to be low coming into your combo.
Yeah, I was actually kind of scared that he would actually get to stride, because Fidesz is still rather scary, especially if he can hit the 13 on his Brave guys and just combo with the Baldor skill.
Yeah. Spooky stuff.
Yeah, I don't even think you can G-guard Fidesz. He's got some old, you have to actually guard 2 cards.
About the critical, I think there might be a reason for Altmite to play it, because the Premium Collection one is restricted to GB1. So with the old one, he can just put them on the field, rush you, and then get back his hand when he reaches grade 3.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what he did on his turn 3. He rode his Altamile, got his call, and then called the trigger down for a booster for it, so it hit for 14 on my 9k. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, old G strats. It's too bad 10k triggers are defensively a thing now, so it kind of makes it a lot weaker.
Yeah, the 10k triggers are really strong. Like, I think it's a lot of problem with like early in transition to Vieira. People underestimated the power of the 10k trigger boosts, like defensively.
Poor Dust.
So like all triggers are generally poor Dust.
He should have dealt 6 damage.
My boy Dust didn't last through the G transition.
Oh,
sad boy.
Sad boy. I still have in my binder from my Gize sprint.
Same, but for the old Rise and Dust combo, that was a nice little fun little ditty that I had back in the day.
Oh, I remember that. It was watching your videos on it was awesome.
Thank you.
I think you 0-6 some people with that.
I've tried.
Can steal games.
It is cool to see some of the older stuff still crop up, even if it's not as strong. It's still cool to see it, and people kind of giving it the old try, maybe incorporating some new stuff here and there if they find space for it.
Tier will never die.
Like, I think Good End is a card that's come back from the Abyss, kind of.
Yeah, thanks to...
He was
I was using it 1 year ago.
You were, I mean, he kind of fell off after that year. He was like, he retired for a bit, and then he's popped back up again with the new bad end.
Yeah, the ruling change for the break ride kind of put the kibosh to old bad end.
Yeah.
But then it came back.
He's returned.
He came back strong.
I actually considered taking one old bad end in the
You
new deck,
madman.
just
Oh,
just to activate your instructors more easily.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool.
that's a good idea. You're still a madman, but it's a good idea.
It's been a lot of spike innovation in premium.
There
I think
has
it's going to
been.
be like 3 or 4 iterations as a deck.
It's starting to turn into 2 solid courses of action. So we're narrowing it down, but it's still kind of varied here and there. Excuse me. But yeah, that's what about round 2? How many rounds were there? How many people turned up for the tournament?
I believe it was 8 rounds, and we had, I think it was 200 and was it 230? Jack, Cyrille?
228, I think.
That's that's really good turnout for a premium event. Like even if people,
The day before, we were what, 350?
Oh, just short of getting that the pod split.
the pod split
would have been nice.
Well, that's still way more than last year.
Oh, it was. It's nice to see the Grandma's growing. It's kind of on the rebound again, which is nice to see.
It's impressive to see that it only dropped off 100 between standard and premium.
It's nice to see that we about 100 more than last year, I think it was. It's nice to see that people are actually dabbling in premium now.
Hopefully that remains to be the case, because I know premium collection kind of killed off a lot of people's interest in premium itself.
I would blame Ichikishima for that.
I think it did both, because before, when it first came out, a lot of people got interested in premium again. So even though they got bored of Ishikishima and interactions like that, I think it still brought us more players than we lost.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's good to see.
I actually went in the day not expecting to have fun, and because I'd had quite a bad run on the Cardiff Ichikishima meta had been very boring, to say the least, for me. But I actually really enjoyed the London tournament. It was quite despite the large amount of Ezel and Neonetta there was quite a lot of diverse decks and interesting ideas. Like Jack's deck, Cyrille's deck alone was really interesting to play against. I really love the concept.
About that, I would like to apologize to all my opponents that day, especially the Nova or the Aquaforce, who didn't get to play at all because they need Counterblast.
Oh, you did the thing that you did the damage lock in 0 to 6 them.
There were 2 decks I didn't do it against that day. Tsukuyomi and Bermuda. And the Ezel, the Neo Nectar, I lost 2 in round 6. I tried to go the good end road and realized I wouldn't be able to go all the way, so I switched plans midway.
Okay.
But more on that later. It's just that, aside from that, I think most players didn't get to play a lot.
Yeah, you got to be ready for.
That's what I don't like about this version of the deck, because you play alone for the most part.
So, like playing solitaire, basically.
Some people do like to play solitaire in there.
But that's kind of the what you call it, the give and take of deck building. Like, you know that you're gonna do your one thing. You're gonna have to either accept that you got to give your opponent damage to take their thing, or you're gonna have to deny them and they don't get to have fun and play the game themselves. But then it also comes on to the opponent to make sure that their deck is equipped to handle functioning without counterblast. That's kind of how I try to build my decks.
I mean, the format is equipped with Bobo, so if you're not including that in your deck, you have to accept that you're going to lose to strategies like that.
Exactly.
So should we do round 2?
Yeah, let's head on to round 2.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start this one. So round 2, I played against Ezel, which is expected at some point. So I'm very unlucky with dice rolling, so I went second. And I felt like I was gonna. So he rides up, does his superior ride, standard Ezel. I ride 1, call 1 to damage deny him, so I don't want to give him any. I don't want to get Spirexed. It makes a bad thing worse. So I eventually get to. So when I get to grade 3, I do my stride. He's on 1 damage, I believe, when I'm doing my combo, if the combo the number of attacks, I believe I have the so it's just sorry. So maybe it's I mean, it's 10 to 17 attacks, depending on how many stand triggers you hit. And it just was too much for him to actually deal with.
Gross.
Like with Protect 2, the assassin can hit over a single new defense trigger because it hits for 25, then 30. And then when you go into the Massive Fifth Element, you extend your combo even more. So I basically blow him out with the just. He wasn't expecting me to be able to push out so much, because I think most people have most people know what Dark Regulars does, like they know how many attacks it's going to do. But I feel like the extra few pokes you add in with the Number of Terror assassin mini loop kind of throws people off.
Explain that mini loop. What's Number of Terror?
Number of Terror, yeah. So Number of Terror is if you have 10 soul, when you call him, he gains 10,000 power. And then his other skill is when he attacks, if he has 10,000 power, 10 soul, my bad. If he has 10 soul, you can move one of your rear guards to the soul and then draw 2 cards. So when I was thinking of that, the idea is that even if you don't win, you're going to have a large enough hand to survive the comeback, and then you can use Blade of Mouse to mop up. So the mini loop is you attack with your nondescript extra rear guard, and then you call Assassin over that and attack with the Assassin. You then swing with your Number of Terror and move the Assassin to Soul to draw 2 cards. And then you will bring Assassin back out again and then swing with Assassin again. And then when you swing with your No Hive King or Gastile, after the attack resolves, you move the Assassin and 2 other rear guards of Soul. And if you've hit a stand trigger, your Number of Terror is stood ready to start eating assassins again and do this all over again. Yeah.
That's gross. That's not fair.
It's pretty disgusting, I'll admit.
I can't blame you for including it now, because I never knew what Number of Terror did. I keep seeing it pop up, but I was lazy and didn't look it up. But now I totally understand.
Yeah, he kind of fell under the radar, weirdly enough, like in the set. I think he was the last card revealed from the, and people were kind of hyped upon the Pale Moon and the Shadow Paladin, so he kind of just went under the radar.
Not for you, though, Mr. Expert. But then you just pump out a whole lot of attacks. I'm assuming for Gastile, through the soul charging, you were able to power up your attacks higher. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And the Assassin, though, is always kind of capped at 25. But every time you resolve the Terror, he boosts himself up by another 3k, which kind of matters. Because those 3k boosts it lets him hit the force numbers, which are pretty relevant. But the 25 pokes do add up, though, because each poke is a 10k guard on average, and every card matters in premium. Like, especially if they take them, some people will generally take damage early to PG the bigger swings,
right,
to crit Vanguard. So the little pokes actually slowly kill them.
Death by 1,000 cuts, and then you just bludgeon them with big Vanguard attack.
Yeah.
Fair. I can appreciate that. So then you trounced Ezel, and then feeling pretty good. I'm guessing.
Oh, I am feeling. I was pretty hyped at this point. Just kind of the proof. I had kind of gone in a bit blind because my test, like when you test against the same few people, you kind of get used to their mannerisms and how they play. Right. So they start. So you lose your surprise factor on things. So when I'm playing against Hid, he knows exactly what Number of Terror does. So he knows exactly if he can survive or not.
That's why I think 2 out of 3 is such a nice format, because you get used to your opponent and how they act, and you can adjust between games. So it kind of improves the skill factor of card games.
Because I recall you in your ARG win last year, you lost a few of the first games, and then you would come back because you'd figured out your opponent.
Yeah,
is that right?
I think. Oh, that was such a long time ago.
Oh, it was. Sorry, man.
Oh no, you're fine.
So was the opposite. You won.
You were the hero of Vanguard. Like, yeah, you defeated the geese.
Oh, what were you saying, Cyrille?
No, just from the RG, the one I remember was you winning the first one. Then on the second one, you tried splitting the force markers, and that cost you the games because your columns didn't get high enough. And then on the third one, you played it all stacked again.
Oh, the final, I lost. Oh, shoots. I lost the first one because I split. and then I won game 2 because I stacked them together, and Panther was just big enough to make them take the last damage. And then game 3 was the big Hellheart 8 combo turn.
Oh, I was hype.
With the stack forces.
They were streaming it on Facebook. It was hype for the Hellheart
8. I remember that day. I want to talk about it. This isn't about me, but we can get into that a little bit later.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Cyrille, your round 2, how was that?
It was Ezol as well. And it was fine until his last straight turn. I don't remember exactly, but I think he got like 2 triggers that forced me to guard more than I wanted to. And when I went to the GB8 after that, I managed to win it, but it took every last one of my attacks to win. So I used up my last card in hand to deal the last damage.
Mm-hmm. That's the danger of playing Hellheart 8, because you can lose to random chance like that. Like,
especially if you take them from 0 to 6, because the more defensive triggers they get, the more difficult it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's interesting because it puts them also in a situation where they have to ask themselves if they can bet on it. Like, if they take the damage but it's not a trigger, it's suddenly way worse for them, because I know that I can push even more.
Yeah.
From my experience, I've not played against Hellheart. Well, obviously, you never got Hellheart 8 against me. How do you... I remember the old versions. I used to play Proof a lot, where you had the restanding booster. Is there nothing equivalent to that, or lets you hit over basically infinite numbers of defense triggers?
Devil Dam.
Devil Dam.
Yeah, he's the closest.
With Devil Dam on 2 force markers, he already hits for 72k by himself. And one more, it's 92. So it's a bit of it's a weird spot, because you want to go for the GB8 fast to make sure your opponent won't find a way to counter you. But at the same time, you need time to stack the force markers. Mm-hmm. That's also a reason Good End is nice here, because if needed, you can afford to deal 1 damage to your opponent and just prepare your markers.
That's cool.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Well, it crossed my mind because I know about the triple force stack, but thinking about it to help set up your Hellheart 8 turn is something I didn't factor. That's cool.
I play it because it can help in that situation, but I didn't actually use it that day because I felt more secure leaving my opponents on 0 most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think it's the kind of thing you just decide on the spot.
Yeah. It's kind of spooky because you're playing a combo deck, so you need time. So you kind of have to wager between doing the damage or not, and playing kind of the hit and run tactics game and keep your opponent as low as possible.
And I think especially in this deck, because actually I forgot to say it earlier, and sorry about that, Clash. But Clashified. We talked a lot when preparing for Premium this year, because we wanted to try and make an hybrid deck that could go either for the Good End Stride or the GB8 path.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you could find a way to fit a few stands and maybe a few brackies, it could be possible. But that always means that you're going to be a bit less effective when going on the path, since you have more difficulties playing your combos.
Yeah, that's what's tough about half measures.
Yeah, so in the end, I think we both went for the full GB8 because we didn't feel confident enough in the hybrid.
Mm-hmm. I can't fault you.
From what you've told me, though, it sounds like your hybrid can actually transition into a more aggressive style. Like, I believe in game 1, you said that you went for the Good End finish. So it shows that your deck, even though you've designed it for the full LR8, it still has the ability to just on-demand kind of transition into a more aggressive build. Like, when the opportunity arises.
The problem is that it's not... unlike the Standard Plus version, you can't just change plan on the spot. You have to plan a bit for it. And for example, against Oracle Think Tank, I just decided to rush them because I knew there was no way I would get to GB8.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do that, like against, for example, Dark Irregulars, you're going to just run into a wall because your attacks aren't strong enough to push damage early. Like, I have a few grade 2s that hit on 10,000, but it's not brackies. So unless I get my Detonate Barrel in Solve somehow by grading it, I can't actually push the damage, and the good end turn won't be strong enough. Like, there's no way even to restand the bad end, so you're stuck on 5 attacks, and they have to get through, or you're just dead.
Yeah, it's hard because of what Cyrille said, and if you go half measure, you're gonna make yourself weaker on both sides of your turns. So you kind of have to hope you draw the good part of your deck for the particular game plan you're trying for. If you go that half split route.
I see. So the round 1 was more of you understanding the matchup and you dedicating yourself towards that from the beginning.
Knowing that Ichikashima kind of ruins his plan A, you have to go plan B immediately.
Pretty much.
So let's
straight to emergency plan.
Let's see. I like the discussion we're having around the decks. I think it's more interesting than you guys talking about your rounds. If we want to lightning round through rounds 3 through 8, if you guys want to go that route and talk about your top 8 matches, that'd be fun.
I just want to say something about round 3.
Okay.
Because the Bermuda deck was actually the other opponent I chose the Good End Road against. It's because I saw that their first Vanguard wasn't the G3 Searcher, so I figured they probably didn't play the Revia Superior Ride. And, well, it was Melody, so it turned Melody Harmony, so they didn't really care about Counterblast. And I was right to just push because then I just became faster than them and finished it on the good end turn as well.
Smart.
Round 3 for
yeah, smart playing there.
Well, I just wanted to use it to emphasize that knowing what build you're up against is really strong information, since you can just choose things like that during the first few turns.
That makes sense. Round 3 for me is my first loss of the day against Victor of all things. So eventually I missed my grade 2 for 2 turns, and he rode up busted into and then he went into his the things went bad that game. So not only did I miss my grade 2, by the time I actually got to grade 3, I was hyped up thinking I could go for it, and I drew my last No Life King for turn, making it impossible to do anything.
It was Murphy's Law of all bad things that could happen.
Oh, it was.
And I'm sure people have seen your deck on here, either on Twitter or watching the video as it's in the background. But your deck plays 8 grade 2s. How often did that come into play in terms of being stuck or being close to stuck?
I missed grade 2 once across 3 tournaments over the 2 weeks that I was playing the tournaments. I'm quite aggressive on mulligan for the grade 2 because it's only 8. But like, one of the reasons I actually went for it is because Ezel generally plays 8 grade 2s, and it's the best deck in the meta. So I felt like kind of going for the same thing should work for me in theory as well.
Yeah,
because every grade 3 and grade 1 is really crucial in the deck. Everything, like, other than Emblem Master, most of the other grade 2s are just tech choices for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it makes sense in terms of what your deck's trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and that's the 10k shield on the rodeo came in clutch once.
And I'll have your rounds going in the background as well. But are there any other interesting moments in Swiss that you want to talk about before we go into Top Cut?
So I had an interesting game against Go Paladins. I think it was round. Well, around, I think it was round 5, where I actually thought I was going to lose this game because I think I only went first against Go Paladins once all day, which is against Solomon top 8. Wow. I'm sorry, man. So he wins the dice roll and he opens. So he rodes Ezel. I had to damage him, so he counteracted one Raven. He then countercharged it. He played a Wonder Ezel and another Wonder Ezel, then went into another Raven, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm basically I'm on the bubble at this point because of the Victor loss. I'm like, I think this is game over for me. So he attacks me with his Raven and uses its skill to get him the crit and the 10k.
Mm-hmm.
But I clutch hit double defense trigger, and I'm just like, I live. and then I ride to grade 2, and I attack his rear guard. He hits me again, and I hit clutch defense trigger again. So I feel really bad for this guy at this point. But then, so I actually, this guy, it goes all the way. So I go for my full combo on him. I have everything at this point because I've luckily not had to guard too much. So I do my full combo, but it comes down to the wire that I have one trigger left in my deck when I'm on my. So I do all my stages. So I do all my combos. I No Life King. I gas steal into No Life King into Mass Fifth Element, and I boost him.
Mm-hmm.
So he guards this. He guards tap for 2 to pass because I have 1 trigger left, and I hit the trigger.
Oh.
I then attack again, and he G guards, but he has no Slayers left, so he uses the flipped G guard, which I believe is top 2, core 1.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to get a 15k shield, and he hits a 5, and I'm just like, he has 1 card left in hand at this point, and it's his grade 3, so he ends up dying to them off. But it was
good old loaf.
Oh man. He needs cards in hand when your opponent's dead.
Exactly. That's disgusting. You gave him damage early?
I was forced to. I like to give people 1 damage a lot of the time, but you basically forced to do it going second. So I rode and attacked him.
Oh, okay.
I hit a crit by. I passed the crit to my other rear guard because I didn't want to give him 2 damage.
Right.
And then, but he had he was playing the damage increase package.
Oh,
and the counter charge package, the Lion and Hogan. And then I was like, please don't have him. He's like, and he had him.
So you choose to put him at 1 damage, just makes it easier for your kill turn to go off without fail.
Yeah, 0 to 6 is a lot harder than 1 to 6 because I increase the chance of hitting defense triggers, and unlike Spike Brothers, I don't have infinite power on my attacks.
You don't have infinite, but that's what 6, 7 at least, all above 50k. That's nice already.
That's the good stuff,
it's
right
up to
there.
17 if I hit stand triggers. If my math was right on it, it was. So I think it's. So it's 3.
Unlike us, you draw when you do it.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to giving up hand outside of Mof, you just add more cards to it.
Yeah. It's like the one time when I have joked to call it Force Half is actually useful.
And Cyrille, for Swiss, any other interesting games you want to note?
Well, round 4, I just want to give a shout out to Martin, who I faced with Nova. And again, I'm sorry. Because he didn't have Bobo. And well. But now the other interesting game I'm thinking about is the round 6 against Neo Nectar, because as I said earlier, I thought I had the pieces to try and rush it, and at worst I had my honor list, so I thought I would be able to just reduce the impact of the Gladioluses and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But well, I gave him 3 damages. And then got stuck by 1 defensive on that turn, and then just no wait, I gave him 2 damages, and I couldn't give the 3rd. That's why I changed plans. But he still managed to do everything he wanted with only 2 counterblasts, So I just died to the second Katrina turn.
Good card, fair card.
To be fair, he played well because, like, on the first Katrina, he didn't really do a lot of attacks. He chose instead to bring perfect guards to his hand with the Bloom perfect guard.
Yeah.
So he got free and counterblast, got them back.
Yeah, that is smart. That is smart.
But because of that, well, I knew that I was still trying to hang on thanks to Violent Ace and things like that, but I had like only 5k shields in hand. There was no way that Good End was going to break through 3 perfect guards.
Yeah, especially without the combo extenders.
Yeah. So, yeah. Sad game.
Took one on the chin for that one.
It's not an interesting game, but for me, my most emotional game was round 7 when I knocked my test partner out. Felt so bad.
Friendly fire.
Yeah, he went first, but he missed his grade 1. And it's just, I just felt the pain for him.
That's something they're going to talk about.
I'm sorry, Ed.
For premium, do you prefer going first or second with your preferred builds?
If I'm against Ezel, I like to go first, so I'm not undergraded for 2 turns against their Ezel. Most of the things, I'm not really bothered.
With the GB8, I don't care. With Bad End, I don't care either. And with my favorite build, the Darkbringer one, I think second, because I have so many ways to rush on grade 1. So it's always better to attack soon.
Okay. It's something I always wondered about, like in non-Bushiroad events, when you do the die roll, you can choose turn order. And in standard, of course, you're going to go first. But in premium, I'm always like, I don't know which one I want to go with automatically. Kind of have to, especially because you have to do die roll before you look at your hand. So you kind of have to guess what your deck is capable of from both perspectives. So it's always something I think about. Yeah, I
think it's matchup based a lot of the time, or some decks just strictly like to go first, like Ezel.
Yeah, I'm sure Ezel will pick first every single time without even thinking about it.
Yeah, I believe someone was mentioning that in the mirror match, going second is better for Ezel because they can Spear X. So the Fear of Spear X kind of prevents the opponent from actually rushing them.
Yeah. Huh.
Or they just get blown out even more harder. But I'm not really an Ezel main to confirm this.
Yeah, neither am I.
That's something I've heard.
Okay.
But it's interesting to know that it might be an actual thing.
Actual decision making in Ezel.
Yeah. If any of us ever play Ezel, that's some good news for you. Going second might be better.
Can't say my channel's not educational.
I also like to go second in the DI mirror. So because the person going second generally can gauge what the opponent's got, so they can damage the knight easier. So in round 4, I was in a DI mirror. So he went first and rode Dimension Creeper. This allowed me to ride Killer Tail. I didn't call Killer Tail. And I hit under his Dimension Creeper. And then he rode a 9k, and then I rode my vanilla Rhodia at 7k and hit under him again.
That's right, because she would be 8k. No. Would she be 9k?
She's 7 because she's 5k base and then gets 1k per soul.
I'll keep thinking she starts at 7, not 5.
Yeah. And then he damaged me. I think he was a bit impatient at this point. And then I rode Rufus. Added a card to my hand with Rufus skill, and it's past turn again.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Which is nice.
But those are the little things you have to think about in premium. Kind of like being patient or being impatient, or knowing when to ride to grade 3 if your opponent isn't riding up. Things like that.
Yeah.
The little things that separate the toppers from the not toppers. But yeah, let's talk about your top 8. How did you finish out of Swiss before top 8?
So I came 7th in Swiss, I believe. My last round, I was against a friend of. I was playing against a Dark regular player from France. I believe he knows you, Cyrille. I
right.
can't remember his name though. Kevin, yeah, that's it. I believe he was playing the build that had topped Cologne, I think it is. Or it's very similar. He was playing a more aggressive anti-Neonetza build than I was.
I don't remember his deck very well, but I think it was pretty much that. Elder Rose, things like that.
Her game against him was quite funny. He rerode grade 2 because he feared Sabreeze, and I don't know. I think he was tired on the day, and ended up damaging me. And then because I rode grade 3 first that game, and he rerode grade 2 and then hit me with it, and then he got and then I gas stealed him while he's on grade 2. It was just it's pretty disgusting.
That definitely had to be fatigue setting in by that point of the day.
Yeah, he was playing really well until he was thinking ages, and then he rode the grade 2 re-ride, and that's what happened.
Did he realize it after you started going off with the steal?
He realized it when I called the Bobo and went off.
Oh, that's good.
So do you want to start on the top 8? Sorry.
Well, for my top 8, it was Neo Nectar, and this time I learned from the Swiss, and I didn't give him counterblasts at all.
Well, this is a rematch from Swiss?
Yeah. No, it's not the same opponent. But I just didn't give him counterblast, and I reached the GB8 rather easily.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get too many triggers, and he had decent Katrina turns, but it was more than I could guard them without wasting too many cards. And then he wanted to see the GB8 turns because he didn't get to see it that often. So he wasn't disappointed, but he didn't hit that. I think he hit only one defensive triggers, and it was really hard on him.
It's rare to get a willing participant that wants to take your Hellheart 8 turn.
Well,
sounds like an anime that show me what you've got, like Frieza.
I looped as much as I could, with Spike Bouncer at first to get more attacks, then Detonate Barrel to get stronger attacks. And at the end, my Devil Dome was reaching 92k, I think, and I had a way to use it 3 times in a row, because since it goes back to the deck on its own, if you boost it, you can just let it return to the deck and send the boost to Soul instead to call it again.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one attack at 128, I think, something like that, and this one he didn't guard. And then if he had survived, I still had two Devil Dome attacks.
I'm imagining Cyril's opponent now as Perfect Cell, and Cyrille as Gohan. show me your hidden power, and then he instantly regrets it.
Father, son, Kamehameha.
Proof appearing behind behind Cyrille for the.
One-arm Cyrille going off with his Hellheart 8 combo. I like it.
And for the record, there isn't a single GB8 turn that I don't use Hivemaker. Unless the damage zone. I just want to point out, he's the real MVP of the deck.
Oh, wow. High praise, MVP. So if you don't have Hivemaker now, definitely find it if you can. If it's out there somewhere.
I will make it expensive.
Unfortunately, I think you two probably own all of them in all existence between you.
Probably. Oh, that's great. Andrew, how was your top 8?
My top 8 was actually a rematch from last year. So I was playing against Solemn, Vanguard. Some people may have heard of him in the Vanguard community.
Some people may have.
He's pretty famous. So it was actually quite, when we were working out, I was like, there's no way this is a rematch, because we actually mathed it at first. We thought I was going to be playing Ben, who ended up facing in the final, but it ended up being Solemn again. Mm-hmm. I actually asked him at the start, I was like, please don't be like the Empire Strikes Back, where you actually win this time. So I actually win the dice roll here on a mighty 6, which is I was not expecting. He actually underrolled 6, so he rolled I think it was 5 or something. So I go first. I ride, I believe it's Yellow Bolt. The early turns are a bit fuzzy, so I ride Yellow Bolt and I call a grade 1 because I want to. If I ride my Emblem Master, I want to be able to get value off him, get my engine going. He rides, and I believe he damage denies me, and then I ride and I deal 1 damage to him because the 1 damage at that point is kind of, it doesn't matter the what. Against Ezel, I believe the 2 damage is the big power spike for them, where they can Spear X partner you. So the turn I really so I don't remember much. So the turn I remember most is when I fire it to Stride. He actually blows my mind. Like this play from Som, actually super sick. By the way, like this is probably the play of the tournament. Like if he was like an Overwatch, he'd be like play of the game. So I have all my full setup. So I attack with my first attack of the turn. He intercepts it with all his rear guards and then G guards Dismal to make his last rear guard untargetable. So I proceed with my combo, like kind of confused why he's done this, and then it's revealed that Bruiser's Retire is actually mandatory, so I actually have to kill my own rear guard, which prevents me from actually full comboing him. She's kind of left me in like she's kind of like it's like a JoJo moment or something. Like he's like I'm like the power of my Dismal.
So you're sitting there a little befuddled by what's going on.
Oh, he ruined all my plans. So he lives the turn because I am unwilling to moff him at this point. Like his brain power on that is like he had like his genius,
his card knowledge and everything just kicked in.
Oh, it was like at that moment I knew I'd screwed up. So he goes into one of it. So I have an attack left, and I'm like, I am not. He's on 2 face down damage, 1 face up damage, and I'm like, I'm not going to damage him, like because he's going to ultimate me, and I'm dead. So I pass. He strides Spear Axe, I believe, to refill his board, and then I live because of a number of terrors draws actually help so much, like. So I live, and then I go into my boy, like, Blader Mouse, like, praise his name.
Such a good card, such a good stride.
Oh, he's amazing. So, so last year when I was playing Solemn, it was really weird. So he had 1 non-trigger in his deck, and I guarded him for the, I think it's a 2 to pass. So he needed to hit 2 new triggers and an old trigger to break it, but he ended up hitting 1 new and 2 old, so he failed to break. And it's kind of like a repeat of that, but he was the one guarding me this time, so he guards me. So I have 1 non-trigger in my deck, and he guards me for the 3 to pass, like 2 new, 1 old on the Blader Mouse. He's got the balls for this. He has a PG in hand, so he G guards, tries to dig for his PG, fails, so he G guards again. We get the 3 to pass, so I drive. So first check's trigger, I all Vanguard. Second check is a draw trigger, I all Vanguard again. And then the next check is a crit trigger, and I'm all Vanguard again. And that was the game at that point. I was kind of like worried because when you're expecting like things just not, when you're expecting fate just to kick you in the
in the butt.
The crown jewels. I was expecting that, but it didn't quite go.
Sometimes when you're running hot and things are going your way, kind of just let it go, see what happens.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you knocked Solemn out of the tournament once again.
I'm so sorry, Solemn.
I gotta do that to him 2 years in a row. He's gonna be coming for your head next year. He's like, if nothing else, I'm beating Andrew this year. He's gonna find you.
Weirdly enough, when we were at Worlds, like in practicing, he annihilated me like 5-0. Like his Great Nature deck was just butchered me. I was actually afraid he was playing that deck. I was like, oh, please don't be playing Great Nature.
Lo and behold, Great Nature wins. Was this a standard?
Premium last year for me.
Ah,
Well, he won standard, with the Leopold.
yeah.
Now, the best move to do for him next year would be to beat you and then immediately after drop, because he has accomplished what you set out to do.
All the true betrayal. He's paired up against me. Can't top. But then insists on ruining my chances.
That'd be
Bringing me
great.
down with him. Top 10 anime betrayals.
That'd be great.
I love you, Solomon, man. You're like the coolest guy. Please don't betray me. Please don't betray me to pay your revenge.
I think it's too late now. I think it's too late. The damage has been done.
He knows where you play. You can't escape.
Right? He knows where you live.
Well, speaking of revenge, we get to the top 4.
What, top 4? Nothing happened in top 4.
Oh, man.
Move along.
So let's break down top 4 for the people.
So I play against this gentleman called Cyrille. Nice guy.
He's pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
You can keep going with the compliments.
Yeah, he ruined my dreams of winning UK last year.
Oh, come on.
It's cool. I didn't respect the Spike Brothers enough. After their run of slaying geese, I thought I would be the one to avenge the God of Destruction, but it wasn't to be. Lesson: don't play villain decks, man. You're destined to lose in the finals.
It's true. It's true. We got video
The
record
hero
of
always
that.
smites you, man.
So who won the die roll between you two?
More seriously, I think you did.
So I think this game was. I did beat you, yeah.
Yeah, you rode to G3 first.
Yeah, I kept hitting you with my Vanguard because I am not calling anything.
And you showed absolutely no care about me not giving counterblasts. That was a bit frustrating. Now, the tragedy is that I had heard before, because you faced my friend, that you played Bobo. But
I had also heard from my friend who had faced you that you were playing a 0 damage deck.
I knew that if you had Bobo in hand, it was almost automatically my loss. But I still wasn't confident to go for the good end because my rush capacity wasn't that good. And,
my deck is designed to beat rush decks as well because of the blowout. Because I have enough. Generally, the deck's designed to have enough resources to survive and then recur them. Just to have, you only need 5 units generally to get off, to combo off. So brushing would have been quite bad.
And you got the Bruffus interaction at your disposal.
I don't remember my hand back then, but I know.
All I remember is
yeah.
All I remember is like we basically vanilla. Like I've just basically vanilla stried twice to try and dig for the Bobo, and you just kept drawing like obscene number of cards.
Yeah, but I think that's where I made a mistake because when thinking back, I knew that the Bobo was coming and that I needed more time to set up my gifts and things like that. So I think I should have gone just for a good end. At worst, you went for the No Life King turn, and I would have taken a lot of damages. But at least I had a chance to hit back then. After that, honestly, I'm not sure what was better. But in doubt, I should probably have rushed you anyway. Yeah.
So this is the sweetest revenge of all, like Vanguard history. So in the final last year, I was playing the damage denial deck, OC Gize, and I felt like I was all right, and then Cyrille dropped the
Picaro
the Bobo into the Dirty Picaro and annihilated me in a turn. And this year I got my revenge back with his own ace tech.
Sucks that you guys had to face each other in kind of friendly fire before finals.
Yeah, it would have been. I would have been an awesome if we got to face each other in the finals again, like go in all the way.
I would have been hyped for that.
Like, I'm quite sad. I'm quite sad that you didn't get third place. I was actually thinking like you would.
Well,
Right.
more on that later. But looking back, I think I misplayed too in that match. It was a long day.
Yeah,
It was. I was knackered.
it's tough because like.
So
oh, go ahead.
So that game, the game with Cyrille was just amazing. Like it was a very slow, like both deck, like we were both like really scared of each other. I felt like we were just like I was being less cautious hitting him, but I knew I had to do some damage to him after he started drawing like 6 cards a turn off his Miracle Ace, I think it is, or Miracle
Violence Ace.
Violent Ace. Sorry. Like the deck, that deck was just pure genius. Like like it doesn't ever have to drive.
So you guys were kind of playing footsies in fighting game turns, kind of feeling each other out until it was like, all right, that's enough. It's time to try to push now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I have nightmares. I probably maybe shouldn't have attacked him because I can just nightmares of him actually just going like I attack and he just goes G-guard, 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 and the game's over.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Against you, I didn't dare G-guard too much because in case you... Usually I do like 1 or 2 before the GB8 because then I can go into Violent Ace and draw a bunch. But
I see.
Against you, if you get the Bobo and the combo off, then I will need my G-guards to survive.
I see, that makes sense.
The eternal struggle of when to G-guard and when not to G-guard with Hellheart 8.
Yeah.
That's actually the first tournament I ever used 2 Hekatongias in the same game. I played the second one just in case, and I wasn't convinced until that day.
I mean, I actually dropped Bobo to 3 copies in my testing because he was actually pretty much of a brick against Ezel and Neonectar. I actually only used him twice all day, and one of which was against your friend Kevin, and the other was against you twice. So do you want to do the third place playoff first or the final?
Yeah, let's keep the final for the end.
Awesome.
The third place, so it was Tachikaze, and I was very afraid of Anger Blader, so I didn't give him a single counterblast since he needs it for the grade 3. And that's something I couldn't have known beforehand, but he didn't care about Anger Blader at all. Like it's 2 of in his deck.
Oh, jeez.
Instead, his plan was just to stack as many Goges on the rear guards as possible in early, so that he rushes a lot. And then when Nebiros finally comes out, then he can just pull it off with only Goges, actually. And that's how he won against me, because his sweep Crocanto had like 8-9 Goges on it.
That's a big dinosaur.
That's a big puppy.
And the story behind that is that I was looking for my bad end because I didn't have it in my opening hand, and I used Jelly Beans to search for my grade 2 and my early heals to force a G assist. But the first turn I did that, the only grade 3 in the top 5 was Hivemaker. So I just chose not to add it to my hand. And the turn after that, I finally got a force grade 3. But it was already too late because he stayed on grade 2 as well because he had that huge Kokonto and he didn't care.
Yeah.
And then... he just won on the Nebiros turn because it took so many cards from my hand to do stuff and to guard the early game that I couldn't survive it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the moment I think I misplayed is that when I saw that he started to stack power on the Crocanto, I went for the rear guards because I actually went out of my way to make like 23k columns when Crocanto was still just 19. and I attacked 3 times the Kokanto, and he guarded them all. And then the turn after that, when the Kokanto was too big for me to hit, but he still had like a Smilodon on the side, I attacked it 3 times as well, and he guarded all of those. At that time, he had like 2 cards left in hand, and I think it's at that moment I should have accepted to just ride Jelly Beans or Hive Maker and force him to stride, because I was still on maybe 3 or 4 damages. I don't remember, and I had my heals. I could have perhaps used Mecha Trainer to search for a perfect guard. I think I could have survived quite easily, and then just by using that turn to go full face and dealing 1 to 3 damages because he didn't have guards left, I could have just taken the game with good end, I think. But I was so concerned about Anger Blader that I didn't realize it on the spot. I just thought about it afterwards.
That's the standard mentality.
Yeah. That's tough, because knowing what Anger Blader could have done to you, and then not realizing until it was too late that it really didn't even matter, because his deck was all about gauges, not Anger Blader combo thingies. But it's all good.
I couldn't have known that, but I think even if he had Anger Blader, he didn't have enough cards left in hand to gauge another rear guard, so it was just that 1 big Kokanto hitting twice at first. And that's the moment I should have realized that he couldn't finish me on the usual Tachikaze turn.
We may all make mistakes. We live and learn, and then that's where the best of 3 would come in. Little cheapless or shameless plug for best of 3 Vanguard tournaments in the future.
At least return to when I believe in 2017 we had day 2 best of 3 at least.
Yeah.
So day 1 you kind of weed out people.
Unfortunately, I didn't play during that year.
Best ones. Oh, didn't you? That's a shame.
I only heard about it.
It was a good year, but when they split the format, obviously they kind of abandoned that.
Right.
Day 2 became premium at a lot of places. It'd be nice if they kind of put like Buddy Fight and Standard together or something, and then put Weiss and Premium together, and then split the days. That makes sense, but they won't do that.
Yeah, because a lot of people still more people are going to play Vanguard over the other 2 anyway.
Yeah.
I wish they would take out a round and make top 16 or something at the very least.
It would be nice if we did scale the top 8, because I've discussed it with a few guys. Like, I think Vanguard's probably one of the hardest card games to top, because it's always top 8. There's no variation. Like, I believe Yu-Gi-Oh! Is top 32 cut, or it varies depending on event size. And I know Magic, I think, does top 64 at big events.
Yeah, they just have the benefit of day 2, I think.
Yeah.
It would be possible, but didn't we have this argument the other day? I mean, I think it was Solen who said that a top 32 or something like that wouldn't be better if we keep it best of 1. Because it's you still have 1 more game to play.
Yeah.
Just to reach the usual top.
It means like if you go X2, you'll still like most X2s will generally top on a top 32. Like it's but in like currently I believe X1s you're not even guaranteed to make it. Like you sometimes get the 9th, the hated 9th place.
Yeah. Oh, good old bubble.
Good old bubble. X1 9th place, the best. You had to be king of the non-toppers.
It's the argument that I've had for a while in terms of if they aren't going to change best of 1, at the very least, I would say top 16. I'm okay with top 32 because a lot of the time between rounds comes from like end of round and then trying to process the match slips. So if you cut it down to 32 people or something like that, there's still time do, but you cut out a lot of the processing time, so it still goes quicker.
At Portugal, it was run very well. It was a small event, I think 88, but the one staff member, he didn't post the paper. He just made everyone use the app they have. And then when you report your results, you and your opponent get in the line and you line up at the queue to tell him what your results are. And it ran really smoothly. That might be a really good way to do it at the that'd probably be a really good way to standardize it, kind of. Instead of staying seated, you move to the desk in an orderly fashion and report the result to him so he can log it on his computer.
Mm-hmm.
It would also reduce manpower and probably make judges able to concentrate more on judging.
Right.
Than
trying to collect paper.
Did that make sense the way I said it?
Yeah, it made sense. It's kind of helped reduce processing time between rounds by letting people report at the same time with their opponent, as opposed to writing it on a match slip and calling over a judge and having the judge run it up to the front.
Yeah, it's like if you imagine if they had like say 2 or 3 people processing this at a time, so 3 computers or whatever, or 3 laptops, it would. You could probably get like it done in say 10, 20 minutes. Obviously the round time, which would be quite rather. It just reducing time in the
reducing that open time.
Like less processing time, more play time.
Yeah,
would let you expand the.
I'm willing for them to experiment it at some of the bigger regionals. Like for us, the New York regional is always a large one. So I'm fine being a guinea pig if it means improving it for everybody else. I just want them to do something that does it so you don't feel as bad for not making top because you lost one round. Excuse me. Because going X1 and not topping like you talked about is probably one of the worst feelings in most card games, because in every other card game outside of Vanguard, you would expect to top if you had that record.
Yeah, I have a friend who plays Yu-Gi-Oh! And in Yu-Gi-Oh! People generally aim for, I think it's 7 wins, 3 losses. That's generally enough to top.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Vanguard, you can't even dream of topping on 3 losses.
It's absurd. So I'm all in favor of increasing the top cut if it means more people can get in and have a new leash on life, because in like variance happens. So especially in best of ones, like somebody could have like just a poor early like G assist or something like that and have no chance of topping from then on, but then they win the rest of the way or something like that.
Yeah.
So Bushiroad, do something. Co-signed by the 3 of us.
I mean, on standard day, I actually lost the Nightmare Dolls from bad luck, so I was really upset.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
About that.
The deck is strong.
It is. He actually won to 6 me in standard, and like on his turn 3.
Carol things.
I was just flabbergasted.
So how'd your top game go?
So the final was I think I believe he rolled double 6 on his to go first roll, and I'm just it sounds like fate's decided that I'm not to win this year again. So he superior rides. I take 3 damage because I guard with my Bobos because he's basically useless to me at this point. Poor guy. I attack a rear guard, and then his turn again. He actually deals me. He actually kills me, but I heal on 6.
Oh wow!
And then but my hand is. I remember my hand being very bad. Like it's mostly like nothing in my hand soul charged, except from No Life King, and I only had 1 No Life King left in my deck.
Mm-hmm.
So I ride a No Life King. I'm like, please don't be a No Life King, so it's not. And I start mathing everything. So I stride Gasteel, and I use Gasteel to put my Barufus and my No Life King deck in my soul. I soul blast my Dimension Creeper that I rode on turn 1, and I hit. I get Emblem Master and a trigger, and I then add the Emblem Master to my hand. I call a number of terror. I use the Emblem Master on number of terror to put 3 number of terrors. Then this is the misplay I make during the day. I move my Emblem Master to the back row to call a trigger down in front of him because I want to boost the trigger up for when I start comboing, so that I have a big booster to hit over defense triggers. If that makes sense to you,
it does.
So I start powering. So I start soul charging again, and I use monochrome, and I draw another monochrome, which is like I'm basically playing off the top of the deck here. And I monochrome again. I draw yellow bolt. If I hadn't called that trigger, I could have put the yellow bolt there, which would have given me the 13 soul I needed. So I call my other trigger down and my yellow bolt behind my Number of Terror. And the mistake here is I should have abandoned the full combo and put the yellow bolt up front, because that'd have given me the 13 soul without killing a rear guard. And I'd have been able to... And he told me at the end of the game that he would have died to a double restand then LK.
Oh, dang.
So I do like a half combo and he lives. And then he blows me out with Wonder Ezel, Platinum skill, Spear X, and my only hope is to hit another 6 damage heal, which would have been that would have been ridiculous, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. So my own misplay cost me the game, but I was under so much pressure from trying to navigate with the hand I was dealt. And I was thinking more, and I shouldn't have. I felt at the time after thinking about it, I shouldn't have zoomed in on going for the full combo with the Number of Terror. I should have just gone for a more standard like
poke combo
restand play. But
it
happens. We all have our bad times.
Yeah, we live and learn.
We're human.
But yeah, that's exciting.
Shout out to Ben, by the way. He coming off retiring from judging and winning regionals.
Shout out to Ben. But yeah, congrats on getting second. And then unfortunately Cyrille got fourth, but still great day. Wish it was third. Wish you guys fought in the finals so we could have got a 1-2.
Yeah.
That'd have been great.
And I wish we could have played in Premium together in Japan.
Yeah.
It would have. You're playing standard this year, Cyrille? I think you won France, was it?
Cologne.
Cologne, yeah.
In standard. So I'm still going. That's nice. But
I'll take you to the ramen shop, man. My favorite restaurant in Japan.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I want to go to Japan. My wife and I both want to go, but I love ramen, so I want to have authentic ramen from Japan. So
what you need to do is win a regional under your name, and then you need to do some weird drag setup, and then do it under your wife's name, and get 2 free trips.
Actually, I hear that winter is the season where it's the cheapest to go to Japan. So if you want to come, and then you can even watch the tournament since they open it for the public.
That'd be fun.
Ramen together.
For me, it's I think it's £521 to get the flight there, and the hotels are rather cheap. Black Friday's over now, but my friend's got a 25. He's such a good businessman. He has a 25% off on hotels.
Oh wow!
He's used Hotel.com so much. He's like a platinum or something.
He's a platinum member on Hotel.com. I dig it.
Yeah, man.
Before we wrap up, is there anything you would do to your deck to make it different?
I think I would give a try to taking out Detonate and adding Bracky. And maybe to take out the Cheerful Links for Instructor. That way we would get closer to the hybrid. But aside from that, as far as GB8 goes, I'm very satisfied with it.
Okay.
I'd like to add Saint Germain to my deck so I can do the sick-ass Psalm plays in mirror matches. Without the intercepting. Give everyone resist.
Now do you know the secret tech, the technology for the mirror match?
For my deck, I'm not really sure I'd change. It's kind of... anything I take out, I have everything's already really tight. Mm-hmm. I have a build that if Assassin gets banned, then the works. I have the issue, Cyrille, with the hard leg.
Gross.
But other than that, I'm quite content with the build. I'll probably have to see if Great Nature becomes popular, because that's world is going to be mystical. Is it Mystical Fortune?
I think so. Yes.
Mysterious Fortune,
Mystical Fortune.
like that.
Yeah, that meta might shake things up. Great Nature's quite a brutal DI counter. So
we'll see.
I'm going to still rep it though. We'll see how things go.
Okay, great. So I'd like to thank. What was that?
I really want to take Angels to standard, but I don't.
It's the
I'm
legendary...
having a hard time to have them face Murakumo.
It's the aggro angels you'll tell me about. the like 30k grade 1 attackers.
Yeah, actually, it's very nice. And I even started to like playing Protect 2 with this.
I think someone needs to send Bushy a notice what protect actually means. Aggro Angels doesn't sound protect to me.
Excuse me. So
I
before,
believe you did quite well with the. Was it X2 you went with your Angel Feather in London?
I went X3, and then I had to drop because I couldn't top anymore, and we were hungry, so I went to
fair.
it with my friends. But yeah, I did get 5-3 from it, so still nice.
Any changes to do to that deck?
Yeah, actually, I want to try Zerakiel again because, I think the key for the Murakumo matchup is being faster than them. So spamming Protect 2 will probably be the answer. But aside from that, like I faced 4 Pale Moons in Standard London, including 3 Silverthorn and 1 Nightmare Doll, and I won 3 of those. So it's already a good start for the deck, I think.
And it's only up
more
from
sports
here.
soon as well in March, which would be cool.
What's coming in March?
Right.
More Angel Feather spot, I believe.
Yeah. And they said they were going to be focused on Protect 2, so it should be fun.
I'm looking
More
forward
power
to
for
it.
more aggro.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, are there any shout outs or thank yous you guys want to give to anybody?
So I'll shout to my my local crew, Russell Moore, Naheem Desai, him also known as Hid on the Discord. I'll shout out everyone on the Discord as well. Like I don't really have much of a local premium community, so I wouldn't actually get to test without them. And obviously I've got to give a shout out to Dave, my local store owner. He's top, nice, a legitimate nice guy.
And as for me, I want to give a shout out to the guys in the Discord as well, but more especially Septual and Slashbaker that I got to meet in London. Well, in France for Septual and London for Slashbacker, and for, of course to Clash, who really helped with the discussions we had about spikes and the versions we were playtesting.
The Russians.
What?
I thought you said Russians then, sorry.
Oh, to Clash for his
Clash,
discussions.
Clash
Oh, right, sorry. So I thought it was like some Russian Vanguard community giving you the spicy text.
The secret tech.
Nah, I already have to test Clashify's new deck and my next locals, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, go for it.
Classify's got some pretty madman ideas.
He does all the madman tech that I don't have time to make it to. That's great.
You need to have a word with man. I think he's keeping his spicy ideas away from you, Proof. He's planning to unleash them on you sometime.
He's just holding some back, just waiting. But I want to
like
thank.
Some stiff thinker. He's waiting to overthrow you.
But I want to thank Andrew and
your opponent can't know what you're doing if you don't know what yourself are doing.
That's some Sun Tzu's there.
The best way to prepare for deck building.
True that. But thank you to.
Thanks for having me on here, Proof.
What was that?
Yeah, thanks for the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for guys for giving me some time, and because I know being all the way across the pond is kind of hard to meet up at times, and I know Andrew gave up locals for this, so shout outs for him. I just want to thank you guys so much for again giving me some time. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Andrew, one of the best DI players in the world. Cyrille, one of the best spike players in the world. Hope you guys learned something today because there's a lot of useful and helpful knowledge here. And yeah, I enjoy doing these. So hopefully more people from the Discord top in the future so we can keep this chain going, because Proof Court is courting some of the best players in Vanguard going right now. So if you guys wanted to get some good competition, definitely check the link down below and come out to Proof Court and have some fun with us. So that'll do it for me. Again, thanks to Andrew and Cyrille for joining us. Let you guys say bye.
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 See you later.
Pleasure.
In the Discord. See you in the Discord. All of you.
And peace. Be easy.